bad.
The United
really
States is certainly the poster child for the institutionalization of mass groupthink.
But yet, it's not just the United States. I mean, living internationally, the one thing I can certainly say is that, especially down here in Latin America, we've got major pharmaceuticals down here and companies. I mean, you'll drive by their factories that are tripling almost relentlessly because they're getting away with things that, believe it or not, the United States legislates. I mean, it's almost worse outside.
It is. I know for certain that, when they outlawed the mercury in the vaccines, there's a whole paragraph about the vaccine, not paragraph, a whole chapter about the vaccines in the new book, The Children of Now Evolution, which, by the way, comes out November 1st. But a little bird told me Amazon has early copies.
Great.
Yeah.
What happened is whatever store of vaccines that were left when they were outlawed here were sent to third world countries. Mm-hmm. And so they're still being used in places like where you guys are and other areas. And we've got to start being more diligent. We've got to know what's in that stuff that's going in our kids and on ourselves. And we don't need to be pharmacologists, but we certainly can ask the questions. Because it's not, for instance, the vaccine that's the bad thing. Vaccines are good, but it's what they call the carrier that's in there. And historically, that has included things like mercury, which has been studied for interstellar travel as a fuel, and thimerosal, which is just as bad, and several other things, which are conductive materials. And as you know and I know, and we work really diligently to teach the world, consciousness is energy. It's not limited to our body, and it's not limited to time or space, and it's very subtle, and it's very responsive. Energy is intelligent. So when something happens, the energy responds. And when you put conductive material into a body, like in a vaccine, it expands the energy field so that the consciousness cannot properly seat in the body, and since it can't, we're seeing quite a wide spectrum, for instance, of autism, because every person, every child is harmonically different, and the way their energy reacts to those conductive materials is directly relative to their frequency sets. So medicine is doing things out of ignorance that are changing an entire generation epidemically. And we've got to become more aware. And there are ways to check what's in that stuff. You can check by batch. There are 800 numbers you can call. And you can ask your doctor's office to show you what they're giving your child, and you can check the batch number before that child receives anything. Mm-hmm. And that way you can avoid some of the problems we've been seeing.
Now, one of the things you're saying, though, brings us to empowerment, because in order to do that, you have to really buck a system that does not want you to be empowered.
Well, you're dealing with personal empowerment or personal authority together with education.
Exactly.
And the education is not only about the chemistry that's being spoon-fed to our kids, but it's also about the very nature of holistic health.
Right.
Exactly.
There's one of my favorite things on the planet, and in terms of a helper medicine, is colloidal silver. It's nature's antibiotic, and it's very, very safe.
Wonderful stuff.
And yet
we
the
make
FDA, the FDA continues to roadblock it as they do almost any natural, widely available treatment.
And this is why it comes back down to the courage to have the ability to be self-empowered and the courage to not buckle to the pressure of a group think that has been manipulated, because that's really what we're dealing with.
And you're dealing with two levels of education. One is this health issue. The other is, how do you take action in a society that has got it seems that all of the institutions in North America have become rather stodgy.
Well, they want you to be afraid.
They're the entropy, the structures. Now, it's been a while since I've had to deal with any local school board, so I don't know if it's changed, but I know that back in the 90s, you had to be pretty vocal in order to have your voice heard, and I don't think it's gotten easier.
I'm sorry for interrupting. It's not about a revolution like people think.
Right.
It's about each of us asking questions and remembering that these are our children, these are our lives, whatever the case might be. And being willing to accept only what we discern is okay, and not being willing to be forced into anything else. And all it requires is asking some intelligent questions. What's in this stuff? That's a great question.
What's in this? What are the side effects?
Right. And having the courage to ask, because for some people, that is a courageous question.
Exactly. And being able to speak for our truth and not being, and quit saying they will do it or they are doing it, whatever, and realize that we are them, and just be an example one by one, ask the questions, vote, whatever you can do to contribute to anything, do it. You don't have to be a big swath across the whole world. You can do what you can do, and that's all that it's all we need. If we start doing that, then pretty soon there will be so many of us, we will be such a force that there's no stopping us. And you know what? We are there. There are that many of us. The question is, are we doing it?
And this is the essence of what Kira and I refer to as passionate action, is when we begin to listen to our hearts and are willing to articulate what we feel and know is true, we start creating an authentic wave of energy in the world.
Well, and then we empower our spiritual discernment. And, speaking of discernment, we have some beautiful callers holding.
Well, on line 4, we have Gretchen from Minnesota, who has patiently been waiting.
Oh, what an angel.
So let's bring her into the conversation.
Namaste, Gretchen.
Hey, Gretchen.
Namaste. Thank you for taking my call. I was just wondering if I could get a mini soul reading around my job, my career. I've had a lot of changes lately, and I'm feeling a little lost. I did receive a new job a couple weeks ago, and I was very excited, and I still am liking it, but I'm feeling like I'm not fitting in, and I'm not sure if there's another direction I need to go. And I think I'm overthinking it, and so I just need some direction, if I could, if there's anything out there for me to receive.
Sure. Meg, did you want to offer her anything before I do?
My first comment to you was going to be you're way overthinking things.
Yeah.
And here's what happens when we do that. When our mind is that active, first of all, it interrupts our ability to hear our intuitive nature, because our intuitive nature is very subtle and our brain is very electric, and so it creates a field where it kind of keeps our intuitive nature out, so we feel lost. The second thing is, when we hold on to something as tightly as you're doing, we literally create density in our own energy fields, and we're not able to communicate with creation on a full level, so we feel kind of off to the side and not sure of things. So my suggestion from what I see energetically with you is, wow, you need to relax and start breathing and know that everything is a choice, and if it doesn't work out the way you want it to, you can always choose again.
I'm not able to hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Gretchen, we're getting a little feedback on your line, honey, and when you listen again, I want you to really tune in and listen to everything that Meg just said, because it was really valuable. And what I want to offer to you, Angel, is, in addition to that, is simply the fact that you are in this position right now because you're still learning. There is a aspect of your empowered self, and I'm smiling that you called today, and we were just talking about that when your call came into us here, but there's an aspect of your empowered self that you're still doubting, and that the beauty of this position for you is that it will, in the end, offer you freedom from that doubt. And the minute you allow that freedom from doubt to fully anchor everything Meg just mentioned, everything I'm sharing with you, you're going to pop through. You're also really resonating with the number 8 today. And so they're giving me a sense of like 8 months. And so it looks like the next 8 months for you will really be about finally resolving the remnant of doubting your beauty, your truth, your passion, your life, and then you're going to be free, Angel. And so celebrate. I would smile. This is all a good thing, and I agree with Meg and everything she's sharing with you. Let the mind go, have fun, and swim. It's a beautiful time to swim. We love you, Gretchen. Thank you, honey.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Blessings. And remember, to all of our listeners, it really gets down to self-trust.
Yeah.
You are the divine in form.
Yeah.
And as you live this life straddling the worlds between this mass consciousness density world where we're interfacing with highways and freeways and ads and television and all that stuff of the world.
Oh, I was wondering what word you were going to make up there, Sri.
I'm not making
that was a good one, though. Stuff works.
I think it works.
Yeah.
Well, stuff happens. And then we're multitasking into our inner world and our intuitive sight that is really helping us see the fabric of creation upon which this grand dance is expressing. And as we touch that, feel that, and allow it, trust becomes stronger. Remember, the dance in front of you, your lives, your interactions, all of that is the stuff of discernment cultivation.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Sri. What you're bringing is to one of my favorite topics, which is spiritual discernment, because that's the beauty, and I also feel that's what these children are teaching us. That's what the events in our world are teaching us, is it's inviting all of us to really gaze and say, are we growing with our own spiritual discernment? Have you witnessed that, Meg?
Absolutely, absolutely. And here's the deal. A lot of us don't realize that we have that possibility because we've been told to conform and be something or achieve something or whatever. But the truth is, discernment is the greatest tool that we can give ourselves, because when we discern, hey, for even this, is this mine or is this something else? Because so many of us want things to feel good, we take on other people's stuff and it doesn't work.
Exactly.
So discerning what, first of all, is ours, and second of all, what's my truth now? And a good way to do that is listen to our body. Our body scientifically is proven to act before our brain can. So if we catch ourselves tensing or holding our breath, stop and take a nice deep breath and say, okay, in this now, what's my truth or where is my resistance? And just becoming aware of how many times a day we do that will free us very quickly. And it's only about being aware that we have that option.
Absolutely. We all grow up in this hypnotic soup, and this hypnotic soup consists of our family of origin, our culture of origin, and all of these belief structures that shape our perceptual filters. And as we continue to grow and start listening to our hearts, we begin to notice the distortions.
Yeah.
And this is the essence of the manure for discernment. and the distortions out there are really the tragic actions of those that aren't listening to their hearts. That for example, the projection of beliefs upon unfairly, really, upon other classes, other peoples, and all of these things going on in our world. We need to remember, and you brought this up early on in the show, Meg. We're in this together. We can't exclude anyone. Everyone is included. That phrase that came through in the late 60s about spaceship Earth, we're all on the same vessel, sharing this environment, sharing this beautiful Gaia, and until we can be inclusive, we'll never find peace in the world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll just create our bubbles.
And here's another piece of this that I feel like is really important, and I know that y'all are on the same page, is that everybody has a set of tools. Not everybody's is as full as everyone else's. It's not about that people are mean or they mean to be, misleading us or anything. People are doing what they think is right. And all we need to do is show them a different kind of what that looks like, and not take it all so personally, because we tend to try to conform to it so we feel like we fit, because as human beings in these temporary bodies, we somehow seem to think that's a really big deal. And what we need to realize is we're already perfect. There's nothing to change. And everybody's doing the best they can, which is all we can ever do. But how we go about that is how we make a difference.
Well, I appreciate that, because that's the essence of forgiveness, which it creates that smoothness of grace to come in, to forgive others, recognizing they're doing the best they know how, given their state of consciousness.
And that's the key. It's like, it's the ultimate forgive them, they know not what they do, because everyone is doing the best they can given their state of consciousness. Inherently, if they could do better, they would. And when we can relax into that and then respond, we have the gift of weaving the tapestry. And that's really what today's show has been about.
And speaking of the weaving, Dr. Meg, let's hear about what you're going to weave in the coming months as our show comes to a close today.
It always goes so fast.
Share with the listeners the website where they can learn more about you and what's coming up.
Thank you so much, and it's been really awesome talking with you. I've missed you. My regular website, my main website, I should say, is spiritlight.com. That's SPIRITLITE.com. It's a big site, a lot of free stuff on there, a lot of good resources. And the website for my Touching the Light certification course, which is a year-long 3-level course that I teach every year, is touchingthelight, all one word, .org. And wow, over the next month, just watch the schedule on my website on spiritlight.com. I'm in the process of scheduling a number of things. I'm participating in a cruise in Alaska in June, and looking at maybe doing Scotland and Wales sometime next summer, and putting together a conference in Hawaii. That got delayed a little bit, but there are a lot of different things coming up. My schedule's in constant fluidity and motion, so check with it regularly. And also, I'll be sending out tweets with, I'm doing a lot of interviews, and what's so fun is they're all so different. So I'll be sending those out on my social media, and I'm everywhere as Doc Spirit, D-O-C, Spirit. And easy to find.
That's great. Beautiful. And one thing that you're reminding me that I want to share with everyone, it's a choice to continue to expand. It's a choice to continue to grow. And I believe that in order to honor and respect that choice, we need to associate with others who are doing the same. We find that support makes the path a lot easier. And whether one touches into the cruise or the conference or the book or the radio show, whatever it is, these are the choices that will make the journey more gentle and more expansive.
Indeed.
And so we thank you for contributing to the choices, the healthy choices that are out there.
Indeed. And we have missed you too. And what a pleasure to have you on. And I know the book's going to be outrageously successful. Thank you for letting us share it with our listeners.
Well, thanks for having me. And again, it's called The Children of Now Evolution. And it's got all the answers that I didn't know how to speak of when I wrote the first book. The first book was an awareness kind of thing. This book is really hard-hitting. It's got answers about vaccines, GMOs, autism, all of the different types of kids, and with a stress that there is no label. They're all awesome. But
awesome.
I really hope it helps.
Well, it certainly will help, because we know that you wouldn't write anything otherwise.
Exactly.
What I'm telling everyone is this is not a new book. It's a wake-up call. And
Perfect.
I'm not about selling the book. I'm about the information to help these kids, because we've been damaging them without realizing it, and we've got to stop.
Yeah, that's very true. And thank you. It's always amazing to me how quickly these shows go. And we're just delighted to have had you with us today. Remember, beloved ones, if you want to learn more about Dr. Meg Losey, just go to Spirit Light. Remember, that's light, LITE.com.
And for all of our listeners, we invite you to take a deep breath and to let that smile come to your face as the show comes to a close for today. Each and every one of us is precious. Each and every one of us makes a contribution. Have no doubt you're doing it perfectly. And until we have the joy to be with you again, may you remember that all is truly well. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for joining us at Shri and Kira Live. To have your questions answered, send us an email to guest@shriandkiraradio.com and check out more information at shriandkira.com. See you next week. Namaste.